Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another stream, ladies and gentlemen. Big up to all of you guys. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Make sure you guys are getting involved in chat. Make sure you guys are letting me know your opinions. And also please vote on the poll. Which club you want us to start with? You got four options: Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, and Spurs. Because whichever club wins, by the time I intro everyone, we will start with them. Currently, Arsenal are on 27%, Chelsea 23%, Man United 31%, and Spurs 20%. So vote on the poll. You got a poll there. And close your live chat. Hit the like button because there's already 70 people in here. We ain't even started yet. You are the biggest fraud in the planet if you don't hit the like button. So let's get the likes up right here, right now, and subscribe to the channel as well, because we are closing in on 43,000 subscribers as we keep pushing. The road to 50k continues, guys, block by block, one by one, you get me, step by step. You know, we're getting there, inshallah. So please hit the like button and subscribe. Oh, look who's here. Hit the like button and subscribe. So Arsenal win again. Scintillating, scary performance against Ipswich. You get me? They're absolutely better than them. Ange Amorim. Hamza imitating Amorim on Ahwa yesterday was the funniest thing ever, man. Just sit down. He's like, why are you taking a shit? That's Hamza every time he speaks about Amorim. Hey, Spurs lose again. It's just another day. Just another day in the life. Chelsea were 1-0 up against Fulham. They then proceeded to bottle it. You get me? So look who's here as well. They just proceeded to bottle it. You get me? So yeah, there is a lot going on, and we have a stacked full panel today to talk about all these topics. Joining me first and foremost, the only person on the whole stream alongside myself who actually won their game. You get me? My favorite Arsenal fan to work with. Clear of Saad, levels above Saad. You know, Saad is like bottom tier. You know, Ashraf is like troops level. Saad is just sewage, you know. Man like Ashraf is in the building. How are you doing, Ashraf, man? You're on mute. I can't praise you all this and you're on mute. Wallahi, Wallahi.
La, sorry, my bad, guys. But that intro is man, bro. Big up to Saad as well. But but big up Hassan. Thanks for having me, man. This channel is massive, mashallah, now 43,000. I remember when I first came on a call here, you were like on 15 or 17,000 at the time. It's mashallah, good growth. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, share this video. We have a fire stream hopefully coming up. And let's get Hussam to where he deserves to be, guys. Come on.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, my brother. Listen, 50k is on the loom. We're this close to 50k, you know, we're this close, you know, so we want to get there, and we can only get there with the support of the lovely, incredible community that we actually put up their comments, unlike Saad, the fraud. Joining us next, you get me? They lose every week, so I'm going to put him top row just because they lose every week anyway. They're 14th. At this point, you know, in the words of Hamza, you're just here on a technicality. You get me?
Wallahi, I don't know who you're referring to because there's two in my mind. I don't know who you're referring to.
Who do you think?
Bro, both Spurs and United lose every week.
But who actually loses every week?
United.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Man like Shik is in the building. How you doing, Shik, mate?
Big up, man. I'm getting top row on technicalities as well every single episode with Hassam. But big up to you, Hassam, man. Make sure you guys run up the likes, subscribe as well. And yeah, like I said, I'm still in a storm. So if my internet does cut out in between the stream, like I've been saying, it's because I'm in a storm currently, man. It is what it is.
I hear you.
It
happens.
So,
it happens
yeah.
Sometimes. We got two Chelsea fans on. One because he knows ball, and the other because he got a soundboard. So we brought them on for different reasons. One guy completely knows ball, Andrew. He's always good. I can bring Andrew on to talk about any club for 3 hours, and he got my back. The other one just likes to play click, soundboard, 37 seconds of an audio. Rule number one of a soundboard: have a short audio effect. Have a short audio effect. It should be 3 seconds long. Why is your audio effect 37 seconds? By the time he clicks it, Hamza has finished his monologue and it's still going. You know, imagine my audio effect on the stream is like, okay, guys, let me play an audio effect. Let's sit here 3 minutes until the audio expires. You get me? I love him though. I love both of them, to be honest with you. Man like Marshall is in the building. Man like Andrews in the building.
I am not a clown.
Yeah, I'm just glad we didn't get the intro
that Sad got. He's not even here. That's I mean, that's just the worst.
I can't complain.
That's just the worst intro.
Sad in the mud, man.
Sad.
But you do agree that Sad can hold that, right?
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I know. I just didn't think I'd hear it. That was all we can hold it. Yeah, it's fine.
Bottom tier, Sad. You get me?
Oh yes, your chance.
I don't know about all that.
Bottom tier. How long have you waited for that? Huh? Yeah,
Sad is bottom tier. I don't think anyone from this panel is bottom tier next to Sad. Like you're all above Sad comfortably. Sad is like Southampton.
That's the nicest thing you've said to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Feels great.
I don't know if that's a compliment or not. That's the thing.
I feel like I'm doing things right.
No, of course it's a compliment. I'm telling you you're better than someone. That's a compliment. It's by definition you're not in last place. You know.
Fair enough.
Joining us next, you get me. Spurs lose again. You get me? Just another week of life. To be fair to Spurs, they always turn up in the big game, but then they screw up the small games. This one wasn't a small game, to be fair, but they didn't concede more than one goal. So I guess there's improvements there. Man, like Jordz is in the building. How doing, Jordz, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right, man. How's everyone? As you said, things aren't great over here. I've not been winning, but it's a Christmas period, so you got to be jolly, as they say.
Yes.
Also, they don't turn up in the big games. They lost to Chelsea. They lost to Liverpool. They lost to Arsenal. They lost to Newcastle.
Deji lied to
Newcastle's not a
me.
big game, but Man United, Manchester City, say otherwise. I run Manchester.
The two crap teams this season from the Big Six. Okay.
10 I'll go Manchester United.
Hey, Jacob has been
Sorry,
running
George.
this whole...
I shouldn't have started this way. My bad.
Listen, don't start already. Jacob's been running this whole Chester thing. Low key, it's true. You get me? Because Ange does run Manchester. We can't even lie. He's 7-0 up currently against Manchester clubs. Okay. Speaking of Manchester clubs, 40% winner of the poll as to who we should start with is Manchester United. Now, before we get this party started, Durak Diaries is in the description. Please go subscribe. Casual FC is where you can find both Andrew and Marsha, so please don't give them a subscription. Shik TV is in the description as well. Go subscribe. You need to get Shik to 1K. Ashraf Talks Ball is in the description as well. Go subscribe to all these guys' channels because they are the heroes of today's stream and you show them love just like you show me. So big up to all of you guys. Like the video and subscribe because we ain't even at 100 likes yet, you bunch of disgraces. We have 200 people in here. Let's get the likes up at least, mate. You get me? So, yalla, let's do this. Shik, before we open the floor up and before we let everyone just pile on to your misery, we have to let the United guy speak first before he gets gig-impressed. Hi, Shik. Another game, another loss, another goal conceded from a corner, another Bruno red card. You get me?
3 this season, Three red cards. What's happening? I mean, you're seeing it, man. The storm that Ruben Amorim told us that we were going to be in after we won 4-0 against Everton. After a win, he's telling us that we're going to be in a storm. And this is just an example of bad recruitment, of the situation that we're in. Hiring a manager midway through the season after spending all that money in the summer, of buying players for a different manager, for a different system. This is just what you get. And this was another game of, honestly, again, us just being terrible from minute 1 to the end. We just didn't look up for it. The first half, we kept it 0-0. That's the only positive that I can say, because second half, immediately we get the red card and it's game over from then. We already know how these players are when they face any form of adversity. They absolutely fold. So first half, we're in it. I'm not sure what was said in that halftime break. I don't know where their heads are at going into this second half, but they come out and Bruno gets a red card for a stupid challenge. Can someone explain to me how this guy has 3 red cards this season and he's a central attacking midfielder? He plays as a 10. Like Flawless said this all the time too, and shout out to YG as well. How are you a cam and you have 3 red cards this season for foolish challenges? I think there was one was against Spurs, one was against Porto in the Europa League, and then the other one was against Wolves. And yeah, you kind of have to look at. I have to kind of look at Ruben Amorim, to be honest, because it's coming to a point where you're allowing all this stuff to happen again and again. Let's also just take away the red card from Bruno for a second. Forget that he even got 3 red cards this season. What does he do in a game? What has he done in a game so far under Ruben Amorim? Nothing. That left-hand side that we have, if you guys have watched our games, is completely non-existent. Dallo and Bruno playing on that left-hand side, it's like Dumb and Dumber on the pitch, honestly. But yeah, it's like, this is just what you get. Our attack, Højlund, yet again, he's not good enough. Ahmad didn't have the best of games too. Like I have been praising Ahmad, but even he was not good. Mazraoui, same thing. The whole squad in general. Garnacho doesn't get games. He comes on and he gives away a mistake, and it's 2-0. So this is just what I'm talking about in terms of where our team is at. And I was kind of on this thing where maybe I need to understand where Ruben's coming from. I need to give Ruben time. He has to work miracles with these players. Cool. But it does also come to a certain point where you can make changes. We talked about this, Hussam, with the Spurs and Liverpool game, where we were talking about how Ange can make some sort of changes. I'm not necessarily criticizing Amorim, but I'm saying give us something different, because clearly what we're seeing right now on the pitch with these players is just not good enough. And this is how it's going to be with all these teams that we're going to face next. We play Newcastle next. We play Liverpool after that. We could be in a relegation battle, people. Like, I don't understand. I don't know if people really get that, but our next 2 games, if I were to ask everybody on the panel, if they were to predict it, you would all predict a Newcastle win and a Liverpool win. So that puts us literally in the relegation battle. Okay, you could disagree.
You are going to beat Newcastle because they have a horrendous record at Old Trafford. If it was at St. James's Park,
not as of recent though. Not as of recent.
Okay, but if it was at St. James's Park, I'd shake your hand right now. You're gonna lose. But because it's at Old Trafford, I think you will get something in that game. You're gonna win.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Also, though, did you think we were gonna get something against Bournemouth? Did you think we were gonna get something against Forest? Did you think we were gonna get something against City? Did you ever think we were gonna get something? To be honest, we're only predicting all of this because of records, not actually of how we play. Isak is he's in crazy form at this moment. I think it's going to be a tough job for these players, and it could be to a point where
no Ugarte as well.
Yeah, we don't have Ugarte. I mean, Bruno. I don't even want to talk about him because
is Bruno suspended for Anfield, by the way?
I'm not sure.
It's just one, isn't it?
It's just one game.
Yes.
Yeah.
They rescinded the Spurs.
Bring me that rat to Anfield now, bro. Bring that rat, bro.
Would have been if they hadn't rescinded the Spurs one. I think he would have been suspended.
He should have had another one in the Carabao Cup as well, from when he was doing some dirty challenges on Bergville. He just went and put a foot into the back of him for no reason. He's a dirty little prick. That
he is, bro.
I hate
him. The first yellow card.
I fully believe United are better without Bruno, which is why I want Bruno at Anfield, because I know he's gonna make them weaker. Let's go.
People always say like, where would Man United be without Bruno Fernandes? We say this all the time. Where are we with Bruno Fernandes? He's our captain. He's been our captain for the past 2 seasons now. So who is going to score all our GNA and everything? Where is his GNA this season? Because if you look at, like I said, take away his red cards, what does he really do in the game? He'll get his odd goal here and there with just one moment of brilliance, but the rest of the game is absolutely terrible, and he adds nothing to our attack. And that's the problem. I've called it out so many times that we need players like Morgan Rogers. We need players like Cunha who can progress the ball, who can drive with the ball, who can glide with it. This guy is just hoof. Like, whether he plays in that pivot or whether he plays in that 10, it's just hoofball in every area of the pitch. And
just with that,
yeah.
Do you accept then that this season pretty much is done for Manchester United? Because I think one thing, I don't know about where you was at.
They're in a relegation battle. It's not done.
Yeah, see,
they need to stay in the Premier League.
I think
Europa League. They have the Europa League still.
Yeah. So I've been saying this. I mean, let's be honest. And this is my thoughts. In the Premier League, it's going to be really, really hard to get consistent performances from the squad, because they're just not capable of doing that. Yes, we'll win. Like Hassam said, I think you guys can win against Newcastle. We might win an odd game here and there, but you're not going to look at us and be like, okay, United are looking to they're hitting form. The players are actually doing much better now. No, we had the same conversations about Onana when Ruben first came in. Onana's looking really good. He's making all these saves, and then bang, like 3 games in a row, he makes mistakes. And all those conversations about Onana are gone. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of the squad, is that people, my fan base, are very quick to hype up players and be like, oh yeah, this guy is doing really good. This guy is doing really good. No, you have to look at the overall picture, and you have to look at the overall squad. And he is doing miracles currently too. With what he's having these players produce, even still, is a lot to ask from these players. Like, it's not like Ten Hag, because people have been saying, why is it any different than Ten Hag, or it's not any different than Ten Hag. It's actually very, very different from Ten Hag. If you really do watch our games, we actually have much more control. We don't concede 20 shots like we do, but the issues are the set pieces. How many goals have we conceded through set pieces in our last 6 to 7 games? I think Flawless had a stat up. I think it was 7 of our last 18 goals that we've conceded have been set pieces. So the rest 11, or these 7 goals could have been avoided, to be honest. Onana's goal that he had, it was very similar to the one against Spurs in the Carabao Cup, even though it was different goalkeepers. But you just have to do better. Be more commanding. Have people around you. You can't just get bullied all the time in corners. And set piece coach, whoever it is, bro, fire him, because we are singing set piece again, ole, 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 because we're getting conceded with set pieces. We're not like Arsenal who are scoring set pieces.
But we're also seeing like I think he's profiling Kobe Manu in a 2 in this system. He doesn't have the fitness levels for this at this moment in this system. I don't think he's going to play him as a 10 like people keep saying he should. And Dalot stinks, bro.
Yeah, bro.
He absolutely
someone that we find out can't play a wingback role.
Yeah,
he's only good as a fullback.
Your strikers, what? There's no real words I can use to describe them. They're just shit. You know
like
it's just
that guy Rasmus Højlund had the audacity to cry about a pass not given to him from Amad Diallo. What do you do in the rest of the game, bro?
Bro?
Like,
give
come
him an Oscar
on.
already.
I don't understand where this entitlement comes from for these players. You don't do shit anyways. I really don't understand this entitlement from these players. And there's been some he commented on someone's Instagram post right after too, talking about, because they were talking about Højlund, and he DM'd them. And then this is the mentality of our players, that they're so soft and fragile that if someone says something, you'll just go after them instead of you actually looking at your performances. Same thing with Garnacho. I keep saying this. Faz was right. Faz was right every single time. Like, look at this guy. He comes on. What does he do? He gives the ball away foolishly, and they score 2-0. Game over. Wraps. It's over. Yeah. So,
Shik, I'm not gonna lie, Shik. Unless you have a January window like Chelsea had, you guys are deeply effed. Like, deeply. And the thing is, if this keeps going, you cannot sack Amorim. Because if you sack Amorim, Ten Hag was right. Ten Hag was right. Ten Hag wins if you sack Amorim. And it looks so bad for Ineos.
They can sack Amorim because the Ineos don't know what they're doing. So they can sack him.
Yeah.
They don't know what
they're insane. I would feel horrible. Actually, you'd be doing Amorim a favor.
I won't be surprised, though, if they do end up making a decision like that. Because, like I said originally, we're in this situation because of them. Because of the incompetence that they showed time and time again in sacking Ten Hag. I keep saying this again. If we had won against West Ham, Ten Hag would still be here.
Oh, yeah,
he would still be here.
No. Like, if you'd have drew the game, he'd still be here. It's just that
if Amorim doesn't work at Man United, at some point you're gonna have to just lock the club off. Like
they also
close the gates, just close the training grounds, because Amorim was supposed to be the next big guy. Like, he was supposed to be the next big thing. Just came up like, Sporting Lisbon, like the 3rd biggest club in Portugal, won 2 league titles in 4 years, unheard of in their history. You know, beating Man City 5-1 or whatever the hell, 3-1, 4-1, whatever the hell he beat them. And then he comes to the Premier League, you know. And let's keep in mind, 7 months ago, Liverpool fans wanted them to replace Jurgen Norbert Klopp, who's the greatest manager in our modern history.
Chelsea fans wanted him.
Chelsea fans wanted him. Everyone wanted Amorim. You're getting the guy that everyone wants, and you're still shit. Like, how like. What's gonna, like, how can you get out of this? Like, who's gonna fix this shit? Like Sam Allardyce at this point?
It's really bad.
Wayne Rooney from Plymouth.
Interim.
Wayne Rooney the other day just lost 4-0 to Frank Lampard, man. Yeah, keep that guy away. But anyways, it's more so like, I mean, at the end of the day, we still have to see how, when Ruben gets his own players, when he gets his profiles in the summer, if he does get backed by Ineos, how that's gonna all turn out to be. And I think we don't sack him this season, because I think they are looking towards that. I think when they were in talks with him to originally bring him over to United, I'm pretty sure that was a big talking point, that this season could be kind of like one of those seasons where you get to test everything out. Because let's be honest, like, he's come into a team which this team was already shit, and he doesn't really have enough time to implement every single thing and to have everyone playing the way that he wants them to play. He's made a lot of changes in between too. We first saw Garnacho play, and then all of a sudden Garnacho's got dropped. We first saw Rashford play, and now all of a sudden Rashford's got dropped. So he is making changes in terms of that, but you still at the end of the day have to work with what you have, and you have to be able to adapt. I want to, like, we haven't seen Casemiro play for, I think, the past 2 or 3 games. Why? because I've been asking Casemiro and Ugarte is the better pivot and play Manuel in that 10 and take this joke of a footballer Bruno out of the team because he's costing you points again and again and he's making this difficult for you. So just try different things. I don't mind playing an academy kid because what do we have to lose at this point? Seriously, what do we have to lose at this point?
I think the issue.
It'd be fascinating if he gets.
I'm being serious. He said his job is under pressure, so that's why he will never play an academy kid. I swear, I'm not even trolling. If I'm trolling, you will tell by my face. Put yourself in Amorim's position. He publicly said, "Yes, my job is in trouble if I keep losing games." Why the hell would he play an academy kid?
I mean, it's more so in terms of change things around. Well, even if your job is in trouble, why are you continuing to play the same players then? You have to be able to switch things around and adapt.
I feel like it gets
he
to a
told
point,
us too.
Though, is where it's very similar to like whereas my club, where you haven't got that many options to change things around because the other players you're going to bring in are very similar profiles to the ones that are currently playing, and they've already proven that they're not good enough. The likes of Rashford has been dropped and Garnacho were dropped because let's be honest, I think every rival fan could see we all said at the point of Ten Hag getting sacked and even before then, but definitely when a new manager come in, they needed to trim the squad, and getting rid of a player like Rashford was needed. You needed a player out there who's just been inconsistent for so long. He's been allowed to be inconsistent. You need to get rid of that type of mentality at your club. Whether we don't know what's going on behind in the dressing room and so on. He might not be a bad attitude or anything like that. No one can say anything. But at the end of the day, he's not been good enough on the pitch. He shows his attitude on the pitch. He's not a runner. He's not working hard. He doesn't fit in the Amorim system. He needs to drop those players. So he's done that now. And then people want him to throw young academy kids that aren't going to be ready. He's trying to work with what he's got. And you can only give him time. And January transfer window, like you said, will show if the owners are serious because they really want to do anything with the season. They would sign 3 players at least to try and like fill some of the holes in the system. So then he's got 7 or 8 players that he can really work with that can be taking him forward into like the next season or two of his Manchester United career.
I
think it all depends on. I think it also all depends on the conversation he probably had with the owners, because the owners have told him, "You've got 2 years." For example, we trust you. Like this is where we want to take the club, and we're willing to go with the kind of signings you want. Then I think he can risk and play some of the youngsters and stuff because he shouldn't have to worry that much. I know he said it publicly, but I don't think he should have to worry about that much about getting sacked. The problem, however, for United now is how much patience will. Forget the fans and the ownership have. We've seen them sack Dan Ashworth 5 months after they signed him because they realized, oh, wait a second, he's not actually the kind of guy we want him to take over, which is crazy. How could you make a decision like that in 5 months, which is mental? And the same thing with Ten Hag. They decided in the summer, you know what, he won the FA Cup. Maybe he's the man to take us forward. We'll buy him a couple of players. And then a few months later said, sorry, that was the wrong decision. My issue for you guys now is how long will the ownership and the fans actually give him, because these results are not going to slow down. Like if you guys lose to Newcastle, which I think most of us are saying is a probable thing, it could happen, right? And you guys will most likely lose to Liverpool at Anfield. That would make it 6 defeats since he's come to the Premier League this season, which is like 2 more than Erik ten Hag had all season so far in the Premier League.
That's right.
And that's gonna continue. And the only way, in my opinion, for you guys out of it, because I don't think the manager's the issue. I agree with Hassam. Everyone wanted this guy in the summer. He is a very good manager. You guys have to persevere through this. You're going to go through crap.
That's what I'm saying.
You might finish 15, 16 this season. That's fine. Go wait till summer and then start making slow progression. The issue is if you're bored and your fans come in the summer and go like, what the hell is going on? We lost 15 games. This manager has lost this. He bottled Europa League. He bottled FA Cup. And that anger starts coming out and the owners start feeling that pressure. That's when you guys are going to go in this never-ending cycle.
Yeah,
this
I
may
mean,
have to be
the fan base are already
Chelsea. This may have to be a Chelsea 12th season for you guys. Do you know what I mean? Where you just have to go.
I think this is worse. I don't think we ever dropped this low.
Apart from you've got
y'all
Europa
didn't drop
League.
this low. Yeah.
Apart from you've got Europa League as well to contend with. I don't know whether winning that will be good for you next season. Because
I think playing Europa League is just making the season harder for them right now. Because
what if they win it as well? Because I think they'll just get the Champions League.
I don't think they're winning it.
It's tough to.
I think the thing is, I think it'd be fascinating.
What if they win it? The audacity of this Andrew Gaslighter. What if they win it, mate?
Yeah,
they just lost to Wolverhampton Wanderers, and you're saying, what if they win the Europa League?
Hey, well, if it's Gaslighter,
what are they going to do away at Bilbao or away at Sociedad or like some of these Spanish clubs, bro? They're going to get torn apart, bro.
Oh, okay. But more importantly, it'd be fascinating get to the end of summer transfer window, and if they haven't backed him or bought in the players he wants, I think he should walk.
I think he should walk too, but like honestly, I'm looking at the table.
To save his reputation. To save his reputation.
They're 8 points away from relegation.
The conversation that they had too was that he specifically told them during negotiations that I would rather want to come at the end of the season because I already have something going with Sporting. Let this interim thing go out, and then I would be there at the end of the season. But Ineos were the one who told him that it's now or never. That you have to make a decision right now, and he made the decision
I'm sorry, he's an idiot.
Yeah, he made the decision then. So
I don't think it's fair to say he's an idiot though. Actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. It's more so maybe
the reason I'd say that Jordz and Shik is because he is the kind of manager who could have easily attracted massive clubs in the summer if he because Sporting are going to win the league this season.
Just 3-4 months ago, the clubs that was interested in was West Ham. And he'd had meetings with West Ham. And
but he also had Liverpool and City looking at him though, so that's different. Yeah. West Ham, I understand. West Ham were trying their luck. West Ham were trying.
No, Jordz. Here's the thing. The reason why Liverpool didn't get Amorim is because Amorim wanted too much transfer power. But regardless, we were looking at him. And City were looking at Amorim to be the long-time Pep replacement.
Yeah.
So that's another two things right there.
So I think maybe...
By the way, I want to say one thing. I'm going to cook Terry on Wednesday on Straight Facts because, look, people think you're doing agendas just because you support Liverpool. I said Amorim shouldn't go to Man United because his career will get fucked. And I gave the Ten Hag example. When Ten Hag was at Ajax, Jordz was with me on Spaces. We propped up Ten Hag so much before he went to Man United. We're like, yo, this guy could be the next big thing, semi-final of a Champions League with Ajax, blah, blah, blah. He rebuilt his team twice and won the league and etc., 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 etc. He goes to Man United and suddenly Ten Hag is the butt of every managerial joke in the whole Premier League. And I'll be honest with you, yesterday, Hamza's a fraud. Everyone knows this. But Hamza brought up the Man United fan cycle yesterday. Loki has a point. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if Shik is like Amorim out a year from now because it's a repetitive cycle. I'm not saying he should never be Amorim out or whatever. Like, obviously, if they lose 15 games in a row, I understand. But I'm saying, like, my point is the following. It's a cycle. It's like, okay, new manager comes in. This new manager is going to fix everything. He's unbelievable. Let me hype up the players a little bit. Oh, Euros this, Delict is this. Maz is unbelievable. Kobe Mainu would start for all the teams in the league. Blah, blah, blah. Amad Diallo is better than Saka. And then they start to cook the same shit. Garnacho's at fault. Bruno's at fault, But to be fair, Sheik said Diallo was shit, so we give him praise. And then after that, they're like, Amorim out. Ten Hag out, Moyes out, Mourinho out, Oli out. I mentioned Jordz again because he was there during peak Spaces era when it was the Oli out debate every effing day on Football Wars was title, Oli out, hashtag Football Wars start space. Suddenly 600 people flocking. Johnny, big up Johnny. Get me. Get Oli out my club. Just all of them losing their shit. Oli goes out the club, they got Ten Hag, same shit. So how can I believe that Amorim is gonna fix this shit now? It's
but this is the thing. It's well, for one, we can't obviously say Amorim and Ten Hag is gonna turn out to be the same thing because we still have to see that second season from Amorim. That is if we get there to that second season with Amorim. But with Ten Hag, I mean, I've said this before. I was happy with Ten Hag's first season in terms of what we achieved and where we were going. But it's that second season, it's specifically that summer transfer window where he got it all wrong. They gave him money. They said, go buy your shiny toys. Go do whatever you want. Who did he buy? He bought Mason Mount on his final year of his contract for 50 billion. Spent 70 million on Rasmus Højlund. Spent 90 million on Anthony. These guys, just look at them. Look at Mount's record at United so far. He's not even available currently at this moment. And you could say that about his whole career at Manchester United. He hasn't been available. Rasmus Højlund, you're spending 75 million on a striker. Why not just get two strikers and someone who's experienced along with him? So those are the mistakes that we've made, and now we're paying for those mistakes. We're paying for that recruitment in the squad because this squad is I can't emphasize this further enough. This squad is terrible. Like in terms of attack, I heard this was said on Back Again yesterday. Mons is right. This is probably 17th or 18th in the league in terms of attack. Our attack currently this moment. And it's
100%.
It's terrible. And this is what I'm talking about.
Diallo and Inshallah.
So
here's the thing with Højlund. Let me say one thing about Højlund.
Yeah.
Why do you guys? I'll ask you, Sheik, the question. Why are you guys always on Højlund's case but never Xerxes? I never understood this.
Because I think so I'm personally on both. I'm personally on both.
Bergkamp, my ass. He couldn't lace Bergkamp's
So I'll say this. I think the reason why most people are on Højlund's case more than Xerxes' case is because Xerxes fits this system more than Højlund does, and then whatever they see from Højlund is just not good enough for them. Me personally, I don't like either of them currently at this moment. I think both of them are average, and it's not the ideal situation that we should have where both our strikers are shit. And I think in terms of the way that we play, Xerxes is more equipped towards that system because he has the link-up play with him. He can play well with our 10s. Rasmus Højlund gets bullied by defenders every single week. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be Jared Branthwaite from Everton. It could be anybody. He's getting bullied left and right. There's literally, they're saying he's going to be a wrestler. This is just things that they have conversations about him. But if I were to break down his game, the only thing that I can say about him is his hold-up play, but even his hold-up play is not good. Him just holding up the ball and looking for a pass, he should be trying to run in behind and make runs. And I see him, he makes the wrong runs all the time. There was a game where he was offside 3 or 4 times. So he's more so where if you give him a chance, there is a chance that he might score or he might
is clinical
miss,
though. We can't lie about that.
But that's the type of player that he is. And he's sitting there hoping for chances to come, but look at who's playing around you. And you're expecting chances to come from the likes of Bruno on our left-hand side. If you guys actually watch our games, we switch the ball to the left-hand side the most. There's always Dalot just alone on that left-hand side by an island. We pass the ball to him. He doesn't do anything. He is so limited when he goes forward that we're now starting to figure out that he's not a fullback. He's not a wing back. He is just a fullback. He's good defensively, but he's terrible going forward. So this is just what we have in our team. And
I'm glad you mentioned that before we move on to Man United, because Shik made a very important point here, because I do want to move on from Man United as well, but his point is so valid. Look, you look at these players, and I feel like we did that with Chelsea a little bit last season, but still the players that we rated at Chelsea, we still rate anyway. We all rated Caicedo. We all rated Palmer. We all rated, some players did improve, like Enzo, Jackson, those two specifically, much better this season than they are last season. So you can take a step back and go okay, those two now, maybe I would take at my club. But you're looking at some of these Man United players, and I think, you can get better performances from some of them. And I did expect some better performance. I get a prime example, Lisandro Martinez's performance against City. Very good. Next game, ass. How can you limit that as a manager? I do not know. Harry Maguire actually had a very good performance in my thoughts against Manchester City. The next game, shit again. Amad Diallo, you can see the talent is there, but there's not enough around him for him to build with. There is one rat-infested bastard that, if honestly, whoever, wallahi al-azim, if any player punches Bruno Fernandes other than a Chelsea player or a City player, I'm gonna buy his shirt. Wallahi, I'm gonna buy his shirt. Any player, I'm making an announcement, because I know sometimes footballers are watching YouTube. Guys, one punch, all I ask for. I'm gonna buy your shirt regardless, and I will put it. I will hang it here. I will hang it here, and I will write thank you. I will have banner thank you, but insert name. You get me? Thank you,
Darwin Núñez.
I can't stand that bastard. I cannot stand him. He's the biggest, and I will never forgive Man United fans, because 4 years ago, I watched the video, poor Callum from Kopish. There was a guy on those sport Bible things who said Bruno's better than Gerrard, and I've never gotten constipated.
Oh my God.
I literally have proof of it. You guys think I make shit up? Yeah, watch the space, mate.
No, I can believe it.
Watch. Yeah, watch, mate.
I'm not surprised, bro.
Bruno Fernandes is better than Gerrard. Yeah. Bruno Fernandes is better than him right now. Bruno Fernandes. Yeah. Bruno Fernandes is better than Gerrard. Yeah. Bruno Fernandes is better than him right now.
You want to know the date of this? 2021, mate.
I watched that. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was 1 year in 2019.
I hope these guys get relegated now.
This is not normal, bro. I don't even think. You know what it is? Andrew and Marshall have watched Palmer tear up the league in the last year and a half. Even they won't bring up Gerrard's name yet. They're like, let's have some respect, mate. It's just not do that.
I don't debate anyone. It's a few debates. I don't do Salah Hazard. I don't do Ronaldo, Messi, and I don't do Gerrard, Scholes, and Lampard unless someone someone's blasphemed.
Can you stop
so
doing
much
this?
that I
Can you
have
stop
to-
doing Gerrard, Scholes, and
KDB,
Lampard?
KDB.
Can we go back to the original debate, which is Gerrard and Lampard? Can we stop this
Yeah,
bullshit?
okay.
What do you
I know,
mean?
okay,
What do you
I
mean?
respect
Yo,
your
hey,
opinions,
respect Paul
Scholes.
Scholes.
Oh,
man.
I hear it.
Like,
'cause
Yeah,
Scholes
respect
better
Paul
than
Scholes with less Ballon d'Or
Respect Paul
nominations
Scholes.
than Mason Mount, mate.
Okay,
Big up
Ballon d'Or.
to-
How many league titles did he win us for our club? Ballon d'Or
Hey guys,
nominations.
welcome to tennis, where you win a league title by yourself, apparently.
Well,
Wow.
no, but he's part of three-peats.
Guys,
He's
Michael
literally
Carrick.
part of three-peats. He came.
Michael
he
Carrick is
one second,
better
Hussam.
than
He
Yaya Toure
retired.
because
He
Michael Carrick had more
retired.
league titles.
He retired. He came back. He still won a league title. Respect Paul
Sheik,
Scholes. man.
who's the best
Respect
player
Paul
of all time in the Premier League?
Best player of all time.
Yes, Premier League.
Like any position. Doesn't
Have you
matter.
number one? Who's the GOAT of the Premier League?
Who do you think? Yeah.
There's only one answer, if we're being honest.
There's only
You
one
wait
right
to see
answer.
it.
Thierry
And
Henry.
let's
I say
ask-
Thierry
let's
Henry.
ask-
Yeah, Thierry Henry.
But why
Thierry
did you
Henry.
say Giggs? He
Yeah,
has
you got me,
13
we-
league titles.
No,
There you are.
but that's the thing.
Damn.
It's not just based off of
You can never
league
play
titles
games with
and
me, mate.
longevity.
Could never
I'm
play
just
games
saying.
with. Listen, Sheik, I had this debate with Staffy last week and I destroyed his ass. You see that Ginger Jorginho international break? I'm gonna start investigation for the people. This is the most overrated player in Premier League history because they made up fake quotes.
Okay, invite me
Apparently,
for
they
that
asked
stream.
Xavi, who's
When
the
you do
best
that stream,
midfielder in the
invite
world.
me.
He said, I don't know, go ask Scholes. Biggest load of fucking shit ever. With no reference whatsoever. The Guardian, the Telegraph, anything, the Daily Mail, Abu Mahmoud, the newspaper, nothing. They just made up these quotes. You get me? And all of it, they throw it in your face. Zidane said blah, blah, blah. Bro, get the hell out here. Rasmus should debut on the WWE premiere on Netflix. Is what the Brown Breaker
He's not
said.
good enough for WWE. He's AEW. He's not good
Yeah,
enough for
he is.
WWE, this guy. How dare you? How dare
Respect
you?
AEW, mate. King of the
Nah.
ring, maybe.
Second.
Big up to you, Brown Breaker. Big up to you. Big up to Senna B3, who says, how the hell are we talking about Amorim potentially getting sacked or leaving? Man United is the most cursed club. That's what I'm saying, mate. That's what I'm saying. It's the cycle.
I genuinely don't
Hamza
think
was
he gets
right.
sacked, but he could. Yeah, in this
The
super chat,
closer
he
they
could
get
leave.
to the
I really don't
relegation
think he
zone,
gets sacked.
the closer
Yeah.
they get to the relegation zone in terms of points, not even like just positions.
But Sheik, you can't
And-
even claim it's an impossibility.
It's
This is
yeah,
why
it's
I'm
really
saying.
not.
This is
It's-
why I was saying earlier he's an idiot, because if he didn't agree beforehand that, hey, I need you to give me minimum this time and minimum this in the contract,
Right.
he's an idiot for signing, because he would ruin his legacy. Because now no big club will take Eric Ten Hag, 100%. No
yeah,
big club will
but
take Ole
at
Gunnar
the same
Solskjaer.
time, though, it's
Eric
it's-
Ten Hag has to start all over again. He has to go manage
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
West
yeah,
Ham or
exactly.
Palace or some shit.
at the same time, though, like, yes, he could be an idiot or whatever for picking the job in this situation. Why? But I look at Ineos in this, that we're in this situation because you took too long in sacking Ten Hag. You had the best time to do it after the FA Cup. I keep saying this time and time again. You could go into this summer buying players for your next manager. It just seemed right. It seemed like that was what's going to happen. They've just come into the club. First year, you want to start off with your guy. It just happens. Like when you take over something or when you become a CEO or whatever, you start off with your people. You don't continue with the people that you already have. And you kept beating around the bush. You first had a 10-hour meeting, went into, like, you were there at all the games and you thought about it in the summer. You talked to Tuchel. You talked to De Zerbi. You still thought that Ten Hag should be there. We lost games in between at the start of the season. You still kept him. Well, like I said, West Ham, if we won, you would have still
It would have been a
probably
bad
kept
look if
him.
they
So
sacked him after he went
I'm
down.
looking at, I'm really looking at Ineos, and I can't trust him because the first mistake that they made when they came through the door was keeping Ten Hag, and now we're paying for Ten Hag's squad. This is the squad that he assembled for us. This is the squad that he assembled. Yeah, he gave Bruno a new contract, gave Ten Hag a new gave Rashford a new contract. He saw Rashford scored 30 goals in a season. Oh yeah, Rashford's back. Let me just give him this 300K contract. That'll keep him happy. And then we've never seen that same Rashford since he's gotten that contract. And now guess what? He's out of his way from the club. So this is what we're talking. This is just the reality of it, man. Ten Hag's problems, Ten Hag squad, Ineos' incompetence, and now I have to trust these same people who are up top to help this guy, Ruben Amorim. So I'm concerned, bro. 100%. It's not anything for me to be happy about. Like I said, we could be in a relegation battle in 2 weeks. So Sam will keep putting me on top rows based off of technicality, because I will just be sitting here talking about how Ruben is trying to do this and he's trying to do that, but these players are just letting them down, and this is just going to be the story of this rest of the season. However, though, the only one thing. Yeah, go on.
You know how bad it's got for you guys.
You Your mic is bugging out, Andrew, by the way.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
Yeah, your mic
It's
is
doing the
little
same
bit.
thing it did before. Remember when it's like the robotic thing, it's like, and then the voice comes out.
Yeah, someone in the chat said they're busy cutting our club. Let's not sack managers when they need to, but let's take away vouchers from people who work at the club, hardworking workers who are working at the club. Let's just.
I
give them,
hate the
like,
fact that
50
Sheik
pound
is just
vouchers and stuff
spitting.
like
We
that.
need to get like a delusional Man United fan who thinks like they're gonna solve
Get
the
the
I
one
was
that
problem.
we
thinking
just
the
saw in the
same thing.
video.
I'm like, I
But
wanted
you
to
have
put-
you have
he's
one
saying
from
that-
your Ahwa, no?
Hassam,
Ahmed.
you know what, Hassam, you know the craziest thing is.
Ahmed's not delusional. Ahmed just loved Diallo so much. That's it. But like,
Yeah,
he's
Ahmed-
delusional about the rest
He
of
can
the
be
stuff.
He's
delusional.
not
sometimes.
delusional.
He's
He's like
whatever
me.
he
He be
does.
calling out everyone. But this is the thing. Even Hassam now, you can't even find the most delusional of the delusional ones because they're the ones.
Because they're gone, mate. They're gone, mate.
They're gone
They're in
too, and they're
hiding.
turning too. They're all.
They don't do
turning too.
content anymore. They've given up,
Yeah,
bro.
they
They've
don't,
given up.
man.
Trust
Hey,
me,
I
one-
swear, where are those people who told me we could score 80 goals this season with the Ten Hag? Forget Ruben Amorim. They said we could score 80 goals with Ten Hag. Where are
I
those
know who you're
people?
talking about as well. That was that like Z guy in the
Z
comment
guy,
section.
bro. Yeah, Z.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I
a lot of
remember him.
guys. And they came on Flawless the show and on my show telling me that I'm very negative going into the season because I didn't think that since Rude is here, we can all of a sudden score 80 goals. They're acting like Rude was gonna
Rude.
score the goals for us. That's what they were acting like.
Yeah, Rude ain't top, mate. Shout out
All
to
of a
Seamus
sudden,
Coleman.
Rude is just gonna come into our team and buy some.
Yeah, he
goals.
ain't
Like,
gonna
come
change your club
on,
like that.
bro. Come
Shout
on.
out to Seamus Coleman for winding up Haaland. He kept circling the big blonde fraud that saying "Stay humble" before the penalty. Incredible work. I love the fact YouTube is
Stay
so
humble, eh?
great. We've got an American Everton fan watching us. This is the best thing. This is the best platform. Big up James, man. Can we just get W's in the chat for James because he's supporting a Liverpool channel as well, you know? So big up to you, James, man. And thank you for beating Man City. Thank you for beating Man City. Appreciate that, man. Actually, you should have beaten them.
They didn't
But then
beat them.
Broya was running on the counter attack with 4 options, and then he just kept run like an idiot. Reminds me of Nunes, to be fair. Big up to you, James. Ineos are absolute spin masters, fluers in denial. Jimmy, I promise you this Wednesday on Straight Facts, I'm going to deliver a cooking to Mr. Terry Fluers like never seen on the Football Terrace history of the platform. I'm going to cook him on the Bruno Fernandes shit. I'm going to cook him on the Ineos shit. Just watch the space because he's going to get
one,
this.
he needs to get
The
cooked.
Bruno one, I'm going to
Wait,
tear
what did
his
he
ass
say?
apart.
What did he say?
But
about
even
Bruno?
Ineos,
He's a
even
Bruno
Ineos.
guy, man.
He's
He's
a
a
Bruno
Bruno
fan.
guy.
Defending Bruno for too long. All of these red cards, he defends him. Yeah, he's gonna be better for the. I ain't trying to hear it.
But you know why you should focus on Ineos more because he already came out saying he was wrong about Bruno. Bruno is not good enough. But
I don't care,
Ineos,
baby. We're going to cook him
Ineos,
regardless.
Ineos is still bad in my opinion. Because
Listen, I don't know, Ashraf. I have football wars training, Habibi. I don't do none of this.
I remember.
We don't care,
My
mate.
point
We're gonna
is-
cook his ass.
How could you, as an ownership, sign one of the most sought after sporting directors and then 5 months later say not good enough, sack him? Like that itself
Yeah,
for
exactly.
me
And,
tells me
sack
they're
him.
not
And
doing
then
a good job.
gaslight us into thinking, oh, that's a good thing because they sacked him early.
He
Who
wasn't
cares,
the
man?
most.
That's what I'm saying. That's
No,
another
no,
thing too.
this-
That's-
this-
yeah.
Anyway, look.
Focus.
Focus. No more Man United talk. There's another
Please,
shit
thank
club
you.
here we need to
Thank
talk
you.
about. Chelsea.
Oh,
Before we
I thought Spurs.
Before we carry on with we're working our way through London, Chelsea, then Spurs. So before we finish up, we've just ended the Man United section. Big up to the 600 people locked in. Like the video right now. Subscribe to the channel if you're ready to do so. Every single one of you guys right now, 600 people. Let's get 200 likes minimum because we're not even at 150 likes yet. That's fraudulent behavior. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Chelsea. Harry Wilson got revenge for Hudson-Odoi. Marshall, talk to me, mate. What's going on to your club, mate?
Yeah, December period. Always the road bump for Chelsea. I can't say I am, happy. Obviously, I didn't want to drop this many points. I wanted to get to the end of December with all wins. I would have accepted 2 draws, but we got a draw and a loss, so we're already below my expectation. And so this is the point where, you pressed me on this 3 weeks ago. I've been pressed on that in every show I've been on with the whole title race thing. There was never a gimmick. So we just you see the performances against Crystal Palace. You see the performances against United, and that instilled in me this thought that maybe this team mentally isn't there. And then you see how we capitulated again. I wouldn't say it's capitulate. Well, yeah, it was kind of a capitulation. We see how the Fulham game, it was a story of two halves. The first half, we look decent. We look like we're going to win the game. We get 1-0 up. And then the second half, it all falls apart. It completely fell apart. And got to give kudos to Fulham and their manager, Marco Silva, because they played us off the park. They knew what they needed to do. They exposed that left-hand side of ours with Pedro Neto, who was I didn't know Pedro Neto was a right back, but apparently Pedro Neto's a right back when Malo Gusto's on the pitch. And a lot of questions to be had on the manager for this one. Now we're seeing apparently a technical decision to not have Nani Madueke and Renato Vega in the bench, which would have been maybe some options that could have helped in that game. But realistically, we still had enough to win that game with the players that we have on paper. But at the end of the day, football is football. December period for Chelsea is always one of those tough periods that if we don't get through it, I don't see until we get through it. I don't see why Chelsea fans are entertaining this conversation that, we're in a title race. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm happy. We're still in the top 4 race. I think I'm confidently saying that we're still going to be top 4. Or we're going to end in top 4, whether it be second, third, or fourth. I don't know. But, hey, I think this is a little bit of a humbler that the club needed, and we'll see. Hopefully these kids pick up their heads and the mentality is still win-win-win.
Andrew, you're welcome to the show if you want to talk about your shit club.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, I just want to.
Guy waiting for red carpet. I give so much praise at the start, mate. Go ahead.
I just so just focus on the game itself. This was totally on Maresca. The game on against Fulham, his in-game management in the second half was very poor. He should have noticed that our right Gusto, who hasn't had a good season, wasn't having a good game, and Neto was basically doing the bleep test up and down the right hand side. He should have changed it. I can't remember if Ashraf was on the bench or not, but should have maybe switched that up. He then it's very weird during the before the Everton game, he tells us that Nkuku's not a number 9. Yeah, for the past 2 games, he subbed in for Jackson each time, so it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
when you got Goo on the bench, or just try him like that. And this is coming from me, so you know how I feel about a player. Try João Felix, and you know how I feel about João Felix, Sam. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
No,
Andrew just say that. Andrew just said try João Felix.
No, but I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
You need to start playing, mate. Judgment Day's coming.
I will say this. I'm not his biggest fan, and he played some part in the goal that we conceded because that useless, aimless kick in the thing. But Sanchez is not 100% to blame for the goal that we conceded. Okay,
hold that carefully, Lewis.
And also, if you notice, the instruction for Sanchez for all the goal kicks was him to hit it long. That wasn't him doing it on his own. That was his instruction because we did it both halves. So Maresca had to take this all on himself. Okay. Also, we missed big chances. We could have gone 2-0 up before halftime with that Cucurella header.
Yeah.
Enzo Fernandez had that shot that was saved. Sanchez hit it into the corner goal, hit it straight at the goalkeeper from a half volley, and then then he had a chance right at the end. So we had. I think their goalkeeper was the busiest of the goalkeeper. No, Sanchez had a save from Ante and stuff like that. But we also sat off them, and that was obviously an instruction as well. I don't know why we sat off for them. Do you know what I mean? They were pressing us. We should have pressed them back. Do you know what I mean? And it's just an overall very bad performance on the pitch and off the pitch. And Maresca has to hold that. And you know what? But what I love is the reaction of not only rival fans but my own fan base. You could see all the tweets that had been waiting and been saved all season from some Chelsea fans going, I told you that was why we shouldn't have signed Maresca. We should have hired Maresca. I told you he was going to do this. And that's fine. But you can criticise. There
was a guy who put a picture of Rafael Benitez and said it's like his.
That was shameless. That was totally shameless. But he has to.
Chelsea fan as well, by the way.
But when I said about bringing people on, he's not using this whole squad this time. This is the second game in a row he's only used 1 sub in the entire game.
Was it 3 subs in 3 games or 4 subs in 3 games?
I love the fact that you both are being objective, but why is there no mention of
well, no,
bring me my hoodie?
Up from the last 15 minutes,
Are you really going to do that, Marshall? He scored a goal. I will reply to you right now and punch the shit out of you.
Listen,
You say that's bullshit.
I said it.
We're talking about the whole performance, mate. Talk about his performance.
The last three games. We'll talk about the last three games.
I feel like Palmer's going through that phase of similar to where people were saying Saka was at last year, where he's consistently scoring and getting assists, but his performances aren't great. But because he's scoring or assisting, you can't talk about the performance. Because let's be honest here, he's carrying them through games. And that goal he scored was class. Like the way he like literally just moved it through the midfield, slotted it into the corner. He does that. But then, like you said, for me, I feel like this has been Palmer all season. He doesn't impact the state of the game enough. He doesn't change the game enough throughout the actual periods.
That game against Brighton, Jordz.
And after that goal, his performance dipped, by the way.
Hang on a second. That game against Brighton has overshadowed his entire season in terms of how people think he's doing. He had a world-class performance in that game. He's not had a world-class. He's not had a world-class season. He's not actually hit the form of last season playing-wise. He's got the numbers. He's got the numbers. He's way ahead of his numbers. Way ahead of his numbers during last season. But his performances, and you can say, oh, it's a new position, but he wasn't man-marked against Fulham. You know what I mean? He wasn't man-marked against Fulham or against Everton or stuff like that. He just didn't show up. And you know what? If you were quick enough to like the old saying, right? You're quick enough to praise him. You're quick enough. Don't go over the ball and say shit. I mean, it's just he didn't have a
no. Palmer is not shit. When you put him on a pedestal, I learned very quickly in the world of football conversations. When you put someone on a pedestal, he gets held to that standard.
Exactly.
You score a goal. Okay, you score a goal against Fulham. Fantastic goal. But I'm talking about the rest of the game, though. Like the rest of the game, he lost the ball so many times in dangerous positions. He was in creative positions a lot of the time, didn't pass. And it's almost like he has that, you know, shout out Doc Rivers. He has like that hero ball gene where it's like he always has to be the one that shoots.
I was gonna say that he's very similar to Bruno in a sense, in that way, where whenever he's impacting the game, it's when there's something amazing happening. But outside of that, you're like, okay, Palmer, like what we need.
I think it's a case that maybe. I think it's a case maybe Maresca has to go to him sometimes, and that's on Maresca as well in game management. Learn when to flick the ball. Look where your surroundings first. Is a flick better than just a pass outside or start or recycle the ball or something like that? That's what it is. And you know what? That's something that has to come along with it. But you know what? Others have to step up as well. Cole Palmer, others have to step up too. Sancho had a decent game, but has to step up. I'm not having any criticism against Neto because he was doing the bleep test on the right and he was forced to play like another right back because of their left hand side. So I'm leaving him out. But inside a good game, stuff like that. But Jackson has to be better. He has to be better. Jackson has to be better. Or like you say, make the subs. Try João Felix. Try Mark Gui up front as a striker. Do you know what I mean? Just try something.
Just with that, a question to you Chelsea fans, because obviously all season long, all we've heard about is Chelsea's depth. Chelsea's got the deepest squad in the league, and so on and so forth. We've seen that with the amount of changes you've made whenever you've played in the other competitions.
Yeah.
What's this showing if he's not making subs this moment? Because we know you haven't got you've got injuries, but not a heavy amount of injuries. You've still got options out there. Why is he not choosing these players? Do you think he's realizing some of them are just not good enough for the Premier League level?
I don't know. It's because it's very weird. Like I said before the Brentford game, I think he said like Nkuku's not a number 9 or afterwards. Yeah. He then subs Nkuku for Jackson, who was a number 9.
To play number
9.
It's
like, well, what do you mean? If you're saying Nkuku's not number 9, then why are you bringing him on for the number 9 and trying to play him full 9? I don't think that's asked of him. He's only recently not started using his like full bench, and I don't understand, given the period we're in, where the game's every 3 or 4 days at the moment, why you're not utilizing your entire squad.
And the fact you have a deep bench as well.
But also, as Marshall brought it up, technical difficulties for Madueke. No, he disciplined both of them. That's why they weren't in the squad. He disciplined. But then, okay, so why not use João Felix? Why not use another? Why not use just be different or change it up? Like I said to you, we were getting smoked down the right hand side. Neto was exhausted out on his feet, trying to do up and down. You know what I mean? Yeah. Gusto was getting cooked. Okay, you might not like it. Bring on the Tassi for sure. Bring on Achimpong to play right back. Just change it. See if that makes a difference. And that's on him. And unfortunately, it cost us. It cost us on a point against Fulham. So
in regards to the Fulham game, I'm of the belief that the only change that realistically would have made a difference was having Lavia. But going into the depth section of Chelsea, this is what I mean. The December period is where things get tricky because how many games you're having back to back to back, and then injuries start to rise up, as we're seeing with other teams how badly they're being affected. I mean, George, you can speak on your team when we get to your section how you guys don't even have any defenders left. Like Lavia's out, we have Wesley Fofana out, Badia Sheila is out, so we had to rely on Tosin there. Who else is out for us? I mean, Mudryk, not that it would have made a difference, but Mudryk is banned. We have Nani and Renato Vega who are out of that side. KDH just came out. Apparently he had an injury. So, we have a few injuries. We have a little bit, I'm not going to say we're in an injury crisis, but and it's not an excuse to lose the game. I'm just saying. But, when we talk about Palmer as well, I think part of what helps him is having the right players around him. I think the reason Nani was starting so often is because if you look at the stats, apparently these guys have really, really good link-up play, and they create for each other. Even that link-up play with Jackson and Palmer in the beginning that we were saying, that partnership, it seems to have dissipated a lot going into this part of the season. So it's tricky because we were winning up until the 80th minute, I believe. So, I understand Maresca needing to make subs. I still hold Maresca to account for the game for the large part, but at the same time, when you're being outrun in the midfield, maybe the Sassi would have made a difference, or an Achimpong. I don't know. Achimpong is only 18 years old. You're asking him to come into this derby in a really important circumstance. I don't know. I feel like that's putting a lot of onus on him, and you're not losing the game. And then you lose at stoppage time.
The problem is that you can be winning the game, but momentum goes against you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We could have, if we, is a point about changing. I thought it really all changed after we didn't. I think it really all changed after we. I don't know. It's a bit weird. We didn't react well to that offside goal, even though it was well offside. That goal was goal. We just didn't react to it. It seemed to galvanize Fulham a bit more. But when you're, a manager sometimes, and he has done this before this season when he's noticed he's changed things, and he just didn't do it for this game. It was like I keep going back. All their stuff kept coming down their left-hand side. So he should have addressed it. He should have addressed it then. And if you're going to self-impose, restrict yourself because you discipline two players, then that falls even more to you about changes that were there for you to make that you didn't make. And that's what cost us in the end, because you could see it. It was we lost control. We didn't have control. Yeah. You weren't getting in the game, and that's where you earn your money the most. Is where you try and change it in game, whether it works or not. I could at least go, well, okay, we tried this and this, it just didn't work. Do you know what I mean? But when
I think Andrew, especially, I think you're right, even more, especially given how the second half was going. There's not a single moment in that second half when I was watching the game, and I was like, yeah, Chelsea are winning this. I promise you, even at 1-0. I was like 100% Fulham are going to come back in this game. I didn't think they'll win. I thought they'll get a draw. So the win was kind of surprising.
I thought that as well.
Yeah, but because the thing is, you guys are just too open sometimes, and he takes a lot of risks, which I understand has helped him so far. So we have to give him credit. He's done amazing in the attack. He's done it really well. Yeah. But I think there's something for him to pick up, from what Slot has done with Liverpool, where he's still kept their attacking momentum. But he's also understood that, okay, we cannot be conceding so many high-risk chances. You guys know right now you're third in the Premier League for outperforming your XG against. Only Ipswich and Southampton have a better XG against expected, +10 and +8. They're better off, which means teams miss those kind of chances against them. So if teams capitalize against you guys should actually be 7-8 goals worse. Because Fulham had chances in that second half. They could have equalized before Harry Wilson scored. So
Sanchez
he has to eventually learn. Exactly. He has to eventually learn that, okay, 1-0, I don't have my best team. We're having issues. Maybe let's change the style a little bit, play a bit more defensive, and try to hit on the counter-attack, which you guys are actually fantastic in. You guys are really good when you're going for the attack.
We're getting out, although they're coming down left-hand side, let's add an extra central midfielder or something like that, or add someone in who can play there, just so we can have cut off a bit more space. But unfortunately, he didn't notice it, and I don't know why. I haven't seen any quotes about why he didn't know. I don't know. These journalists don't ask the right questions. You know what I mean? It's
other than Soraya, they don't ask any good questions.
But what I will say is that, when I see things like people coming out saying, "Oh, Maresca out. This is why he's a championship manager,"
That's mad.
It's just
mad.
Are you guys not
Absolutely
worried
crazy.
about just because with Maresca last season, if you guys know, Leicester, they started off the season very hot, very good. Went up. They was up, and then from about, I think it was around January, February, they went on a really, really bad run. Where they didn't win for a long time. And then they managed to just pull it back at the end. And people are sort of alluding to the fact that his teams go like that, similar to how Leicester was previously. They have a burnout at some point. Do you think you guys could potentially suffer that going into the next month or two with how good a form you've been in? Or do you think the Ipswich Crystal Palace games, you guys will turn it around easily and pick up the wins?
I think we should turn around against Ipswich. Palace, as we all know, away is just, even for some of the best teams, is a bit hard to take points from there. But if it goes on, then bring up the question again. If he performs like this in-game management style, then I'll have to go, well, what's he going to do to solve this? Because we've got a pattern of last season with Leicester, and he's got better players here, and what's he going to do to arrest it? But I'll have to wait and see. I can't really go off a 2-game or even a 1-game bad in-game management and go, I'm not worried about it. For the Leicester thing, it has to be. I need more of a sample size to be worried about it.
I did always have the thought in the back of my head about that. And when you ask Leicester, fans about it, they put a little bit of context that, the players were given the opportunities to score and win the game, but they just never took it. But I mean, I'd like to believe, the optimist in me would like to believe that based on how he's performed this season, based on how he changes the lineup and the tactic for each game, obviously this game he got it wrong, that he will adapt and when players become available, because Lavia should be available for the next game. I think he's such a big part of that midfield and what makes it work. With Malo Gusto not being in form, I think the best option he has is putting Caicedo in that right back role and inverting him into the midfield, and that allows Enzo to also be free and link up with Cole, which will probably hopefully see improvement in Cole's performance once that's able and unlocked. I think when players coming back, you're going to see him be more versatile with his tactics and be able to manage the games going forward. So I think the drop off, I don't think it'll happen, but it is in the back of my mind. But I think Maresca's shown he's competent enough that he can adapt, and going forward he'll learn from his mistakes, hopefully.
Yeah.
I hear you. Okay. We're all in agreement with this Chelsea stuff. I expected us we're gonna have a fight and an argument, but Marshall and Andrew both.
You got the wrong two Chelsea fans on. You should have bought
you both. Marshall tried it at the start where he's like, Palmer scored a goal, but we're talking about the whole performance. He tried it. Then he took it back.
You cut him off this time. You should have let him go. You should have let him go, and then you could have terrorized him.
No, I recognize Palmer's last 3 performances weren't that great, so it is what it is.
I don't know. You actually do have a brain. Anyway, big up to all of you guys. We are 10 likes away from 200 likes.
So another one of your compliments again. If you do have a brain.
I think someone has a brain is an insult. I think someone has a brain is an insult. That's crazy. Anyway,
thank you.
We're going to move on to Tottenham Hotspur, you guys. Big up to everyone locked in. Make sure you guys are liking the video. Make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel if you're ready to do so. We are 10 likes away from 200. So let's get there. Try to get to 250 as well. Big up everyone who's locked in. Big up everyone who's watching us. This has been a very enjoyable show to be part of as well. Big up all the super chatters. Big up all of you, incredible, amazing community. We're 50 subs away from 43k. Let's go.
Come on, man. Let's not be Erling Haaland. Let's not be Erling Haaland, man. Slap that subscribe button. Come on.
Let's be Gabriel Jesus last couple of games. Come on, guys.
Exactly. Anyway, hi Jordz. Another lost mate.
What? Spurs? I'm going.
You're supposed to keep talking as it's just.
What did I tell you about the sound effect guy? What did I tell you? 300 minutes of sound effect.
George, I understand. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you in spirit. I understand.
Mud Brothers, City to join you soon.
Here we go again.
Good at this point, man.
Yeah,
I don't know where to start with Spurs. I'll be honest. Like, obviously, the easiest thing to point out is the injuries are killing us. That we're literally down to bare bones at the back. No centre backs. I've been hearing apparently Basuma's been training to play at the back for tomorrow.
I heard that.
It's pretty much just like, you know, planting C4 in your backyard and not expecting anything to happen when you're going out. What's going on over here? Don't really know. Ange definitely needs to wake up and needs to, you know, he needs to smell the coffee. Like, you need to make changes now. You're gonna need to adapt. You're gonna need to do things different because ultimately, what's happening right now, the results we're getting.
What's that, mate?
The results we're getting are not
So
good.
Jordz didn't interrupt any of you, even though you guys lost, and now you're interrupting him. Let the man land,
Everyone
mate.
wants to laugh at me while I'm down. I hear it. They're gonna.
Yeah, everyone's laughing at him.
Hey, I told you, man.
Man
I'm
United are
watching-
14, you
Center
didn't
back
even
has me
proceed to
dying, bro.
But you know what?
I
I
understand what you're
Should've said it at the end.
talk, man. I understand where this
Yeah,
came
let
from.
Jordz
Go, Jordz,
land,
go,
man.
Yeah,
Jordz.
man, I
Yeah.
understand. I
This is
understand.
cool.
I'll
They
mute
can take
myself,
it.
I'll mute
They know
myself.
once Spurs is back, I'm unbearable. I'm the worst guy to be around. You don't want to be around me when Spurs are back winning. And where we have a certain Carabao Cup semi-final coming up. Though.
Back to
Hey,
what exactly?
hey.
Back to
I'm not
challenging
gonna
for
speak
the
Hussam, the treble is still on. Hussam, the treble is still on.
So I actually have a
Shiver me
question, George.
timbers.
I have a question.
Shiver me timbers.
With
Go ahead,
oh, actually, wait. I should ask this after. Sorry, you should. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, let Jordz
No,
land.
so, yeah, it's
Sorry.
just with Spurs at the moment, yeah, it's very easy to point out the injuries, but also that manager has to take accountability. You're looking at games like Nottingham Forest, and although they've been very impressive this season, they've not got a better team than us. We should be beating them, and we should be able to put up a better performance than what we did. And it's just a bit too easy against us. As I said, the way that we're playing is chaos, just transition football. We're playing 5, 6, 7, 8 guys packing into their half. So every time we concede a counter attack, we've got to turn around and sprint. And it's constant sprint, sprint, sprint. And this is why these players are breaking down at this point. All these injuries are going to continue to happen because we're playing at 100% for 90 minutes. Most teams control games and they have phases in the game. You're going to have 15 minutes where you're playing at 100%, and then have another 10-15 minutes where you're at like 60-70%, like Liverpool against us. They put the pedal on, then they took the foot off the gas, then put the pedal on, took the foot off the gas. That's how you manage a game. That's how you get yourselves through one. Where Spurs are just trying to go gung-ho 100%. Ange needs to get better at that. We have shown signs of it early on in the season, but I think definitely with the players we have available at the moment, it is making it hard. But I need to see more, man. I need to see more. Obviously can't wait to get to the January transfer window. We're hearing that the strategy's changed. We're going to be bringing in experienced players. We're changing from focusing on the younger players that we're bringing in the past 3 windows with Ange. So if I can see that and see evidence of it, then there's definitely going to be some sustained improvement. But we need to sign some good quality players. Spurs need signings similar to Manchester United. If we don't make a few signings, our season's pretty much done because we're down to nothing at the back. Van de Ven's probably going to get another injury at this point with the way that we play and how fast he's run. It's cheese strings, hamstrings. Like, it's literally every single time he's running, I'm watching him. I'm like, my heart's pumping. I'm waiting for him to pull up. And that's not what you want for your defenders, especially one of your best players. So we need to bring in the right players that can come in, build out the squad depth. And yeah, man, Spurs need signings because right now things aren't looking good. But what I will say before you guys ask the question and everyone in the chat asks the question, I'm not Ange out. I'm not of the people that think Ange is a bad manager. I think Ange is obviously been dealt a bad hand so far this season. With all the injuries, it's been very unfortunate. He's not been able to push on and actually progress this season the way he's wanted to and the way he would have envisioned. But you have to work with what's going on and you just have to roll with the punches. And right now, he's not doing great with that. Can we change it around the second half of the season? We have to see, because 9 losses in 19 games. We're nearly on double digits losses. We lost more games than we won. It's terrible. It's shocking. We're 11 points off 4th. It's shocking. There's definitely some hard conversations that need to be had. But I'm willing to give him time to turn it around because I genuinely don't think that he's at full blame. I think a lot of it is on the players and get above board the players that we have available, the no squad.
While I
So you're not
manager.
Ange out because this is the civil war right now.
I'm not Ange out. No, I'm not Ange out. I'm Ange in. I'm still Ange in. I like Ange. I like the way that he comes across. I like that he's so transparent in his press conferences. I like that he's going to give you the realness. And he's been very consistent in what he's saying. One thing I don't like is when managers go back and forth when they tell you, oh yeah, I love the board. Me and the board are going one way. And then 6 months later, they tell you, yeah, no, the board lied to me. I wanted this and that, and they didn't give me this, and just start doing the throw the toys out the pram thing. Ange has been very consistent in what he's saying his whole time throughout Spurs, and what he envisions. And he said, look, these losses aren't taking me off my track or off my vision of what I'm come here to build. He's still got the same focus and the same goals from when he first came in, and that's what I like. I like consistency. I like someone that's going to be stubborn at some point. So for me, I trust in Ange, and I think he can turn it around. Just need the board to back him and give him a few players in January to help out, because right now there's not much he can do to turn it around.
But
I agree with Jordz that he is a good.
The question is, will they go and buy players in summer? Because we know Levy and the way that he is.
Summer.
Oh, sorry, January. My bad, January. Yeah.
Well, I know. Obviously, I know how Levy is more
right
than anyone.
players
I
is the
know
other
Spurs
question.
can go one of two ways, but there's also has been examples of Levy back in Spurs. It was just two years ago in the January transfer window where we brought in Kulusevski and Bentancur, who are now two key players in this squad. So we've shown, and even Pedro Porro, was it the year before last year? So we've shown in January we're willing to go out there and improve. It's just we don't do enough. We tend to make one or two. We need 3, potentially 4, but we need good quality ones. Well, it's not just trying to do what we done last year. We got Timo Werner on loan and brought in Radu Dragusin, who doesn't fit our squad, who's now injured and just hasn't been good enough completely.
Yeah.
Liverpool players said they targeted him. That's how bad he is. So that January transfer window last year was a poor one. We need to make up for that this year, and also make up for the fact we didn't spend enough in summer.
If I was a Spurs fan, I would be, yeah, we'll get stuff in January. But it's like, I think you're the easiest team to prepare for in this league.
Yeah.
I think you're so easy. The only team that can't prepare for you is Southampton, because they're rubbish. You know what I mean?
Can prepare for us, but it does. Preparing for us doesn't mean you can stop us, and we've seen that.
Yeah, but Forest gave you. Forest prepared for you. They gave you the ball.
No, but the different. I feel like you can't look at these games and be like, it's easy to. Yeah, of course, it's easy to prepare for a Spurs. It's got Archie Gray at centre back, Jed Spence at left back.
Even when you've got
even when you play the big teams,
we can't build out and play the way that we want to with these players there. With Fraser Forster in goal, everyone when you watch that, you're going to prepare a different way because you're going to look at the
Yeah, but George, that's the edge, though.
A press trick. Or you say if you can. It's not Ange though. It's
no, hold on. But George,
basically come out and said that he doesn't ask these players to continue to play out from the back and do these passes at times when Forster's giving it away and he's persisting with playing out from the back. That's a decision that he's making himself. Ange is saying we must play out from the back
over his own team.
Yeah, exactly. If your players are not following the
he hasn't got no authority over his own team. He's not on the pitch. He can't control.
Oh, so they just ignore him then? Of
course you can. You can make the changes the next game, right? You can make corrections.
Yeah, you can make it at half time.
What changes aren't being done that you're referring to though? Because
for example, Fraser Forster playing from the back, you just said he plays it against Ange's instructions. If it happens in one game, it shouldn't happen again.
If you saw in the game after that, then this would prove if you guys are actually watching Spurs, because the games after that, as you saw against Liverpool, he didn't persist with playing out from the back when Liverpool were pressing high. He would go longer. He kept going long at certain times because he learned from his mistake. So if you're watching Spurs, you'd see the changes are happening.
Remember when you were chatting shit before the game, and then we ended up scoring 6 in your own backyard? This is crazy.
I mean, we still put 3 against you. As I said, you can't stop us. You can prepare for us.
How is that a brag? How is that a brag?
Sometimes you got to hold your hands up and say, "What a 3-point!"
You only put 3 because the game.
A fact. I'm simply
no, but you only put 3 because they played in a way where they wanted to score 6. If Liverpool wanted to score 3,
I addressed that, Ashraf. I addressed that beforehand when I said that Liverpool, where they had phases in the game where they were playing 100 and then 60. So I addressed the point that they let us score, like they took the foot off the pedal where they weren't going to attack the game. But at the end of the day, we still scored 3 against Liverpool. Liverpool had one of the best defenses in the league. To score 3 against Liverpool is not easy. Most teams in the world,
and this is exactly why Spurs will never become a big club. This mentality right here. He scored 3.
You guys know.
So if we face West Ham away from home tomorrow and we lose 4-3, it's okay because we scored 3.
It's not okay though. I never said it was okay.
Why don't you point out the other side though?
I think you're always going to lose that game though. You're always going to lose.
You're equating me literally pointing out the fact that we scored 3 against you and taking a positive to me saying, "Oh yeah, I'm happy with that." That doesn't mean if you watch my match reaction, I was fuming with the fact that we just conceded 6 at home. That's crazy, conceding 6. But at the same time, with the players that we had on the pitch, the players we had available, we had 6 kids on the bench. We had to bring on Lucas Bergvall. I'm happy that it was 5-1 at one point.
But you're the same Jordz that tells Arsenal fans don't use injuries as excuses. So where do we go from here?
It's not I say don't use injuries as excuses. You got to highlight injuries if they're impacting the way that your team is playing, and ultimately we can't play the same way with the injuries that we have. Arsenal fans will go out there and say that they're a great team without Declan Rice or without Saka. I like that right now. I know you saw Mo's tweet earlier. He said, "Oh, look at our record without Saka: 5 games, 4 wins, 1 loss. The 1 loss was an asterisk because they got a red card." This is what Arsenal fans will tell you. Oh, so we're good without Saka because of this record.
Shout out Mo Arsenal 86, my brother. You get me, but you know Mo Arsenal. You went from like just a regular copium dealer to the copium dealer. You're like the El Chapo.
That's mad.
Yeah.
But George, basically, from what I deciphered,
I highlight that with the injuries, we're not the same team. We're very far off.
But you keep
But
mentioning
even
the
with your
injuries.
starting lineup, I don't think you're that kind of team.
But even with
because you had Romero on the pitch and we were still winning even at the time.
Romero on the bench.
Before he got subbed off.
No, he didn't play
against Chelsea.
Oh, never mind.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Wrong game, mate.
That brings me, like we said, we lost our best defender.
That brings me to my point, though, George. Like, based on what you're saying, right? And I'm glad Hussam brought up Romero because I was going to bring this up. Based on what you're saying, it sounds like you just have Australian Pochettino. It genuinely does.
Wow.
Because this guy literally ran the team to the ground where the point we had an injury crisis last season, and he rushed players. So against Chelsea, you rushed Van der Ven, you rushed Romero, who apparently was fit enough, but you rushed him, and they both break in the game.
This is what we're not gonna do. We're not gonna paint my.
Right, regardless, that doesn't say Van der Ven though. That's the thing.
The Van der Ven one was again that one you can say naivety, but we felt the need to throw him in there because it was an important game.
But again,
and as we saw, he managed to get 70 minutes out of him. I reckon the game would have been a completely different game if we didn't play either of them. We wouldn't even went 2-0 up. The game would have been it would have been a lot worse. I don't think it wouldn't even be.
But you're running your players to the ground to the point.
I think starting both of them was maybe if you start.
It was very risky. It was very risky, and obviously he's going to learn from that mistake going forward. But also, it's not helped. It's not helped by the fact that he doesn't have any other centre back options, so he's forced to play those. It's not helped by the fact that we're now using a centre mid and Dragusin to play in those roles. And Dragusin wasn't.
How many centre back options do you want?
Right?
You've run through all of them.
You have 6 centre back options, and you're telling me how many do I want? Yeah. I have 3. I have 3 centre backs. Ben Davies is even a centre. He's a left
but
back.
you didn't have either one of them against City, and you still slapped them 4-0. So you kept a clean sheet. Then.
It's a different conversation. We always slap Manchester City. That's
even we.
No, you don't.
Beat Man City.
No, you don't.
Yes, we do. We beat Man City more than any club on this panel. So what do you mean? No, we don't. We've beaten Pep Guardiola more than any team has ever beaten Pep Guardiola. I know how to beat Man City. It's in my DNA. That's all it is.
I feel like that's a fake stat because I think Klopp had more wins against Pep than Pep had against
No, he doesn't.
Klopp has the highest percentage of winning against Pep Guardiola than any other manager in history.
Percentage. Yeah. But he hasn't beat. How many times has he beat Pep Guardiola? Actual numbers.
We beat him at Anfield every single time except one. We draw once. We beat them at the Etihad in the Champions League once.
I still feel like we've had more.
No, that's actual factual information. The only manager who has a higher win percentage against Pep than Pep himself.
They win a lot at the Etihad though. Like Spurs do beat them at the Etihad.
Yeah, Spurs do get wins at the Etihad.
George is right.
At the Etihad they play well.
Yeah, at the Etihad Spurs win 100%.
Got 2 or 3 wins at the Etihad.
Yeah. No. At the Etihad,
I don't think. I actually don't think. I think Ange is a very good manager. I just think he's in the wrong club. I think everything he's trying to do, like this works for Barca, it works for Liverpool, it works for Bayern.
That's my point,
it doesn't work for Spurs,
you have
in my
good
opinion.
Players. So I feel like if we provide,
but even with your full starting 11, I don't think you have good enough players. I think you guys overhype Van der Ven. I think you guys overhype Bissouma.
Because if you're saying Bissouma, I don't think Bissouma should be in our starting 11 because he's not good enough. I don't think Brennan Johnson should be in our starting 11 because he's not good enough. I don't think Pedro Porro should be in our starting 11 because he's.
So then who should start ahead of them? Who starts on the right wing for you guys then?
But also, didn't Ange want Brennan Johnson? That's the part that's confusing.
Also,
wait, I'm actually confused because if you're saying
better.
But Brennan
this
Johnson
season.
obviously feels like he can get something out of Ange, which he is getting because he's scoring goals.
Yeah, so who should be a starting right winger then, Jordz, if it's not Brennan Johnson? Who
I
should
feel
be a
like,
starting right winger?
Odebert would come in and start for us. Odebert will be starting once he's available. And he started at the start of the season and was brought in to be that tricky winger that's going to be a big option for us. But he obviously got injured really early on and hasn't been able to build on it. Ange has also come out and said that one of the positions we want to strengthening is the front line. We need another player in the front line because Richarlison's never available. So we need someone that can come in and will ideally be off that right-hand side because Kulusevski has been playing on the right-hand side, but we know that Ange prefers him in the middle. So I already see that there's going to be improvement on that right-hand side there. I think Pedro Porro, I don't know whether Ange's going to look to improve on him because Jed Spencer's coming through, whether they're going to be rotating with him and so on and so forth. But we're going to have to bring in some cover for Udogie. But central midfield is very clear to see that we need someone in there, whether it's an all-action number 8 or whether it's a deep line number 6 that can shield the defense. We need either of those profiles because Bissouma is shit. He's just outright shit. I can't bear to sit there and watch him any further.
Listen, I agree.
Yeah, but he is a starter for you when everyone is fit, right? Which is why I'm still confused why you're saying when Bentancur and who else?
Yeah.
Bentancur, Sarr, and Kulusevski, or Bentancur, Madison, Kulusevski. Sarr's always starting because Sarr's the legs. No, Sarr's really good. He's just a young player, still growing and still. He's getting
2-6s. You don't have a natural 6.
Yeah, that's the problem. You don't have a natural 6. Problem. And we don't play with 6s at the moment. That's the problem. We don't actually have a 6. We don't play with a 6. But Bissouma's been asked to do the 6 role.
Yeah,
and
he's not a 6.
At the moment, you're seeing Sarr's dropping in. They're doing like a double pivot. But I feel like because the way that we play and they're so focused on going forward, the double pivot role is not working because both of them want to go forward. Right. They both lost their head. They don't get
so much space. There's so much space in the middle. There's so much space in the middle that Spurs leave behind that they're easy to counter-attack on most times. So it's like
the thing is against Forest, they really only conceded 1 goal, like against Forest. Right. You know, obviously I didn't watch the game to be honest with you, but like I saw some of the highlights and stuff like this, and they weren't that bad against Forest. Listen, I think, you know, just like we had the Man United cycle, Spurs are also in a cycle. You just sack Ange, it doesn't solve any of your problems. It just doesn't make you any better, in my opinion. I mean, even against Forest, like 70% possession, more shots on target, more passes, more corners, more everything. So they were the better team, but they weren't clinical enough on the day. That's why people are saying that's why people are saying like, let's talk about Son, let's talk about this guy, that guy. You could see the ideas that Ainge is trying to apply, but he needs better players to apply said ideas, which is why I do agree with what Ashraf is saying. This works at Barca. This works at Liverpool if you have like Van Dijk and Konate and you have like a front line of Salah, Gakpo, Diaz, Jota, or something like that. But right now, what's happening at hold that, you cannot disrespect Salah.
No, I did. I'm not because you're saying you have a front line like.
We do have a front line. What do you mean?
Some of those names you said weren't even like names like Gakpo. Like, come on, bro. Gakpo's
you're still disrespecting Gakpo in 2024?
I think Gakpo is better than any attacker in Spurs.
Cap.
All right, no. He's not as good as Solanke now. Let's calm down.
He's a left winger. He's not a striker. As a left winger,
ain't a forward.
But for saying like just player in front line, he's not better than Kulusevski.
He's not better than Son right now. He's not better than Son right now. I'll tell you.
No, Gakpo is. Gakpo definitely.
No. This season, I think he's been better, but overall,
you want to go look at the stats?
He's been better than Son.
You want to see how effective Son is.
This
Son
season
doesn't look that pretty on the eye, because Son doesn't do the fancy runs and doesn't take on the play like he does.
Yeah, but you know I don't care about that anyway.
No, but his football IQ, as in what he does for Spurs, and when Spurs are at their best, he's creating, like the passes he's making, the final balls. He's better than Gakpo, and he'll produce more than Gakpo this season. We're going to look at the numbers. That's what I'm going to say. We'll look at the numbers at the end of the year. We're going to see who's had more numbers and take into consideration this is prime Gakpo versus finished Son. So that's what we need to take into consideration.
No, I'm not saying Gakpo is better than Son, like as a career or anything, but he is better.
I'm saying prime and his career, innit? Like, this is probably the best of Gakpo.
No, I'm saying right now. Big up to Brown Breaker saying, what's worse, being stuck in mid-table relegation battle, a Palace, or a yo-yo club that gets promoted and relegated a lot, like Norwich? Oh, this is
definitely Palace.
Yeah,
I'd still rather be a Palace because, like, you're gonna get your like maybe once every while win against a City or a Liverpool or a United and have that moment, over those fans. I wouldn't want to be a Norwich fan. I'd rather be a Palace fan than a Norwich fan, basically.
Plus, given the finance in the Premier League now, unlike a yo-yo club, you can probably keep your players for longer than if you're a yo-yo club, up and down.
Yeah, look how long Palace kept Zaha, how long they kept Olise, they've kept Eze right now.
Yeah.
Like you can build some form of connection emotionally, at least with some players. So I'd rather be Palace. To be honest with you.
Do that? They put players in prison, like they done with Zaha, bro. 8 years just in prison, not letting.
To be fair with the Zaha one, everyone forgets that Man United had a 25% sell-on clause in that contract for Zaha, so that's why he wasn't.
I hear you. Okay, final topic of the day: Arsenal. Before we end the stream, I don't want to keep you guys for too long. Arsenal are scintillating and amazing anyway. So yeah, big up to all of you guys. We're just 20 likes away from 250 likes. We ain't gonna stay here for too long. So Ashraf, talk to me about scintillating, amazing.
Yeah, you like to say you guys are the leopards in the tree. I think we're the cheetahs in the jungle. We chase the deer, we get gassed out and tired, and we give up in the end, and the deers run away. Hussam wants to do this gaslighting thing. We're like, you guys are favorites, and Liverpool, we're just the underdogs. I think we are the underdogs now, unfortunately, which is not acceptable. No, I'm saying it's not acceptable. It shouldn't be. We should have been the favorites, in my opinion.
Okay.
If you told me at the start of the season, City are going to have the season they're having, I would have said, oh my God, this is the easiest league win we're ever going to have. So it's absolutely unacceptable. But I'm saying now, given where all the teams are, us versus Liverpool, 100% we're underdogs. Like, I don't think there's any chance we win the league over Liverpool, in my opinion. Yesterday was a very, very poor performance. A good result, obviously. 3 points is all that matters, but poor performance. We're still creating big chances. I know people will reference that. We're second in the league right now for big chances created. Oh, this guy with his
you know you're the hyenas. Stop with this cheetah nonsense.
Look, I will say this
fan base.
I will say this, Hussam, yeah? I think our fan base is extremely loud and delusional, and I dislike lots of what our fan base says.
You're the hyena.
In my opinion,
I agree.
But in my opinion, I swear to God, I'm not trying to be biased. I genuinely think the loudest fan base is usually United. The reason why they're quiet now is because they're 14th and 13th.
I mean, United are by far the worst fan base out of any top 6 club. They're by far the worst. By far. Even Salah admitted it when I pressed
I think we're close second. Yeah, I agree.
Because Man United, you give them an inch, they take a mile always. Like they always have to do extra. Like last week, Onana was the best keeper in the league. I don't know what fucking.
Actually, to be fair to United streamers, they've removed the emergency from the meetings of their streams anymore.
Yeah, this is regular
streams about.
Hold that United.
Yeah. Regular weekly therapy sessions, man. That's what it is for us at this point.
But yeah, it's been. I mean,
you won your game without Saka though, so why are you complaining?
Come on, stop that nonsense. Like it was a poor performance.
What nonsense?
It was against Ipswich. Have some shit.
You play like that.
What do you mean nonsense, bro? Ipswich had 0.1 XG.
We played that same exact lineup against Brentford and Brighton. We're losing both games, 100%.
Hussam, why don't you try to look at it in a way where, with how much of the ball that they kept, they actually struggled to break down Ipswich at times.
You guys making
they had like 90% possession at one point, and at times, especially in the second half, they were struggling to break Ipswich down. All I'm trying to say is that if you have that performance against Brentford, which is your next game, and Brighton, it could be peak.
Shik, the thing is with that is they've had this performance they had this at Everton where they had all the ball. Everton had nothing, but they struggled to break it. And also Fulham. I feel like the Fulham game was very similar too. I feel like Arsenal have had this problem in a lot of these games where when it's very tight, they struggle to break some teams down. And to be fair, we have to be honest, the goal wasn't a lucky goal because it was well built up and so on. But it was just one of those ones that fall in the box and sort of striker's instinct. Havertz clings onto it, but Arsenal aren't creating high quality chances very often in these games, and it has been a consistent problem for them. I don't know if Arteta has figured that out, or is he gonna figure that out, especially without Saka. He needs to find a way to make it work. Because like I said, in these games against teams where it's a bit tougher, Brentford is away from home, right?
Brentford and Brighton are away.
I think they're unbeaten at home maybe this season. Or they've got a very strong record at home. And plus, the way that Thomas Frank plays, he's very good against the bigger sides. This is going to be a game that's very tight. It's going to be hard to break them down again. Arteta's going to need to figure out ways to do something because the points, you're going to start falling further and further away. You don't want to be Liverpool's 10 points clear by the end of January, even that's crazy. If Liverpool are 10 points clear by the end of January and they stay that distance, then boy, it's pretty much
look, I think for the league
just quickly before you go, Ashraf. Andrew, Jordz, Marshall, and Shik are the jury. I'm bringing some evidence to the court because Ashraf trying to do this whole "it ain't me." I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well,
How dare you come up here and tell me that the Honda is the favorite against the BMW, mate? Anyone here? So, guys, you're all part of the jury. Does anyone here take?
Can you show up the tweet again? What was the tweet? What was the tweet about? What was the tweet about? Can you show it up again?
But you said
what was the tweet
BMW.
about? In the corners, yes.
Okay, so
you will
I'm
never
Honda,
be
you're
in
BMW.
corners. In corners, not in overall.
You're BMW. So BMW is
overall
the favorite,
performance.
mate.
You guys are a Mercedes, and we are
The
like
jury. What do you think? Am I
like
making this up? Am I making this up?
I mean, you are making
Gabriel missed an open. Gabriel missed an open goal.
I said that on the Terry's history. If there's any player in the Premier League, forget Arsenal, in the entire Premier League, I would want to have a header from that close. It's Gabriel Magalhaes, and he of all people missed it. So it's
we have evidence.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I think the league is done. But I think right now we have to take it game at a time. For me personally, the right wing position has suddenly shot up to the priority in the January transfer window. I don't think we will strengthen, but it has to be the priority more than a striker, more than a left winger. Because
it should have been a priority for a long
worried,
time.
Do you think Saka actually comes back this season? I'm being honest, because he had surgery on the hamstring, and usually that's a minimum.
I just
job.
Given his expat thing where he's like usually brushed off injuries and he is like kind of physically strong and he recovers well from certain injuries, I think he will come back. I just think he'll come back in like end of March or start of April, where like it might be pointless.
I don't know if you agree or disagree. This is a point where he himself, even if he's not his manager, needs to make sure he looks after himself. Because when you have a surgery on a hamstring, that's big. Do you know what I mean? That's that big,
huge.
like it's different from an ACL. Obviously, ACL is different, but hamstring, when once that goes, especially in one, you can overcompensate on your body can overcompensate on the other one. The thing happened. Sam will know this. The thing happened with Michael Owen's career. Michael Owen's career, it probably was a lot shorter, and he didn't play enough games because of all the hamstring injuries he got, which led to other injuries later on in his career and stuff like that. I mean, listen, your manager, we know your manager's overplayed him and stuff like this, but he's got, even when he plays him, he's got to learn when you are winning by a lot, he's got to take him off. You know what I mean? He's got, when you're like up, like away at Sporting, 5-1 up.
To be honest, I will say this, Andrew, like in his defense, like he has done that couple of games where we were winning 3-0, 5-1 and all.
I think from now on he has to do that when he gets back. When he gets back, he has to do that from now on, I think.
100%.
But I think it's also a result of you not buying backup to Saka.
That's what I was saying. You should have been looking for a right wing backup for a while.
He did have a right wing backup. He's got a knee injury. Sterling's got a knee injury.
They also had Marquinhos, who's been on loan. I'm pretty.
They signed him,
man.
Yeah, but Marquinhos, he's been shit. Like we tried him in the Europa League when we first signed him. We actually gave him opportunities. We started him in the Europa League games and all. He was just that crap. Like he didn't work out. I don't mind the thought process behind going and getting a right winger who's still young, still developing. Fair enough. Because the reality is, I saw some people saying things like, "Why didn't you go after Rafinha or why didn't you go after Sane?" Guys, like let's use a common sense. These guys are not going to want to leave the bench of Barca to be on the bench of Arsenal. And Rafinha is not even on the bench anymore. He's actually performing like.
Why? Not referring to those players in particular, but why would a player not want to? Like, just looking at it from, if I was an Arsenal fan, if I was you guys are supposed to be challenging for the title. You're supposed to be doing big things. Why would a player not want to come sit on your bench? Look at Manchester City all these years.
Because Barcelona and Bayern Munich are better benches to sit on. If I'm Leroy Sané and I feel like I can compete in my spot.
I'm not referring to Leroy Sané in particular, but just another big club. You should be able to attract big players to come sit on your bench, just considering where you're at, what you're trying to do with your club. That's what you should be aiming for. I don't see why.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, but I don't think it was the priority over a striker, for example, like in the summer. So if they had to pick someone, if they could get both 100%, they should. But if they had a priority in the summer, I think striker should have been priority. I think it's disgraceful that we didn't upgrade on Havertz.
They didn't have any.
They didn't have, sorry?
They didn't have any priority though. That's where the biggest problem was shown, and obviously
I think the attack in general
showed their ass. Like they didn't prepare for this year enough because you didn't sign anyone in the front line, and now you're looking at it and you're like, oh, who's coming in for Saka? Gabby Jesus is going to have to do a job out there, and if it's not him, you loaned out Reece Nelson, you got rid of Vieira, you got rid of it. Yeah,
That's not a problem. That's what, because these guys were bumps anyway. So even when they were playing, they were not giving enough game time, and so I don't think losing these guys is an issue.
But still, like, if
Yeah, he was balling in Porto before we signed him as well, and then we signed him, and he just couldn't handle the Premier League. I don't have an issue with the players he let go, including Smith Rowe. I have no issues with that because even when they were here, they were not playing enough, and when they were playing, they weren't impacting. What I have an issue with is him not getting. Again, by the way, I'm not even calling for like top quality names. I'm not even saying go get a Kudus or a Buemo, but there are quality right wingers out there in other top 5 leagues who would probably be willing to come, not forget sit on the bench. They're not going to come with that mindset. They're going to come with the mindset of, I want to compete. I'll hopefully get games. But worst case scenario, if they have to sit on the bench while Saka is playing, that's fine. That's okay. But he didn't end up addressing that point. I think right now in January, if he doesn't address that point in January, we're screwed. Like then the 5% chance we have of winning the league and the 2% chance we have of winning the Champions League are completely gone, right? And people will be like, but what if he fixes this internally, which is an absolute load of rubbish for 2 reasons. One is some people were suggesting, Martinelli, which is the most idiotic thing because I've never understood this concept of having a right-footed winger on the right or a left-footed winger on the left. It doesn't
he played
work
decently
anymore.
against Crystal Palace when he was
against Crystal Palace, but that's because we had spaces. But when we play against teams with low blocks, it never works. Biggest proof is yesterday. He did the first dribble, which is going on the outside. This is the only predictable thing a right winger on the right.
Marshall, have you seen who Arsenal play next?
Brentford and Brighton. Both
you do realize that Brentford is going to deploy the dirtiest low block in history of mankind. You know this, right?
Yeah.
You know that Thomas Frank doesn't care if he has 11% possession. You know this. You know Thomas Frank, mate.
Thomas Frank is going to isolate Odegaard.
Thomas
and
Frank
have
is
a
going to
game
do this
there.
one long ball to Mbuemo and Visa, and you're just going to, so.
No,
yeah.
you're right.
I think the only option we have right now. This guy needed wingers are a new thing. It's always been right footers. But shut up. I said in the last 10, 15 years, I understand Ryan Giggs used to play on the left and all that crap. I get it. It doesn't work now. I've already explained before, like on Saad's channel and on my channel as well, why it doesn't make sense. Because with someone like Martinelli, because he doesn't have a left foot, he only wants to go on the right. So when you play him on the left wing, he can still go on the outside and cross with his weak foot, which he's done many times, or he can go on the inside and he can pass, he can shoot, he can link up, he can do all these things.
If you watch Pedro Neto at Chelsea, if you put him on the right hand side, I think he does some of his best work.
I think he's better on the. In my opinion, he's better on the right. But my point is, all these kind of wingers are more dangerous when they have to cut in, because it's just a common thing when you're playing ball. If you're cutting in on the inside, you have more options. You have the option to square, you have the option to cross, you have the option to shoot. When you're going on the outside, most of the times your options are only to cross, which is something you can do with your weak foot. And Martinelli has done that.
That's the guy you should have gone for in the summer, Pedro Neto.
I agree. But people are like injury issue, all that kind of stuff.
For Sancho was available. Sancho could.
And people are like, Neto is going to be 100 million. He only went for like 55. So I don't think
this falls on Arteta because Arteta makes a decision.
We have one for you.
Come in and out, right?
Ashraf, we have a player for you.
Bro, I would not take Rashford.
Yes, Ashraf, you already know. Ashraf,
don't worry, we can solve your problem.
Marshall, let's go. Yes,
even if you pay
you can escape it all you want. You know it's happening.
I will take a United player. I will take Diallo. If you give me Diallo, I'll take Diallo.
No.
That's their only player. That's their team right there.
Do you know what the biggest thing about this is? Yeah, Arteta loves to save a whole story.
Yes,
he really does.
He'll be the biggest one.
For real, man.
And he's only done it with Havertz.
Let's go.
I can see it.
If there is one transfer I see happening in January, Rashford to Arsenal. It's so gonna happen, mate. It's so gonna happen.
I want it to happen on the last. Can it happen on the last day of the transfer?
Yeah,
No, Andrew. No, you're getting this the wrong way. It should happen on the first day of the January window.
Oh,
that way they get paid for 30 days straight. Best thing is good. Best thing is Gunnar Solskjaer going like, oh yeah, he's gonna go to Anfield on match week 36 and score the winner. Hey, Gunnar Solskjaer. I love you, but you're off. Anyway, listen. You don't want to make Ashraf feel bad. His team literally won. Let him rest for a day. Listen, we are gonna wrap up the stream here, folks. This has been really, really enjoyable. I appreciate every single person locked.
We're the underdogs, guys. Remember, Liverpool the favorites.
Apparently, guys, the BMW is the underdog to the Honda. Crazy
In
words.
corners,
Yeah.
in corners. I don't know why this guy's doing this fraud.
You
thing.
never
Corners.
said that in the tweet, mate.
I literally
Anyway.
put in the corners thing. Stop lying. Stop lying.
Anyway, make sure you guys are liking the video. Make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel if you're yet to do so. Every single one of you guys right here, right now, please hit the like button and subscribe, folks. We are coming back at 11 p.m. UK time, inshallah, with the Liverpool show. Talk about Trent to Madrid and other
And the
Liverpool
favorites of the league.
information. You get me? Ashraf Talks Football is in the description. Go subscribe, my lovely, amazing people. Shik TV is in the description. Go subscribe. Durag Diaries is in the description. Go subscribe. And go subscribe to Casual FC. That's where you can find Andrew and Marshall. Let's redirect to Turkish because he's mad. I want you all to spam his chat with the Hussam Raid, Habibis. Gonna pull up in the chat as well and spam this in his chat. Spam his chat with Hussam Raid. Love to every single one of you guys, and see you guys back at 11, inshallah. Peace. And out.